its reveal, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 has been memed, mocked, and teased for its weird departure from the traditional Call of Duty formula. Black Ops 7 was marketed as a surreal, mind-bending adventure that would challenge your perceptions of reality. Well, it certainly challenged our perceptions of Call of Duty, but probably not in the way that Treyarch was hoping it would. Simply put, this ain't it.
This isn't possible.
Samuels, what's happening?
We have to save the president.
The president? What are you talking about?
Thanks, Activision, for providing the code. Now, before we get into the full campaign review, I do want to give a shout out to my sponsor, AverMedia, who provided the capture gear for this review. They sent over the Live Gamer 4K 2.1, the Ultra S, the Ultra 2.1, and even the Extra Go dock that allows for easy docking of handhelds like the Switch 2 for easy capture via SD cards, OBS, or their really great software I'll talk about a bit later. For now, note that most of this footage was captured using the 4K 2.1 card at 60 Hz, but all of these really impressed me after years of using other capture hardware. The software capture and cards allow up to 240 Hz capture at 1080p and 4K 144 Hz capture and pass-through, which is simply unprecedented. The team at AverMedia has been awesome, didn't ask me to say anything, and I was genuinely blown away by their products. These will honestly be my new go-to, but more on that later. The link in my description or pinned comment will get you an amazing capture card at an amazing price. They're having an amazing deal starting on the 20th that'll knock $45 off the Ultra 2.1 and $40 off of the Ultra S and Live Gamer 2.1, which was my personal favorite. And the dock is $60 off during this sale. I can confidently say that these cards are great, even if the game you're reviewing isn't so great. About that, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is a game that is simply not great. It's terrible, actually. It's not only one of the worst Call of Duty campaigns I have ever played, it is one of the worst FPS campaigns in the first-person shooter genre, period.
Woods needs us. David, Woods is dead.
The writing is cliche at best and simply awful at worst. And the gameplay has you shooting giant plants, spiders, and yes, that giant version of a companion character is real, and it's just as bad as it appears. The entire encounter can basically be completed by standing on top of a box to avoid all of his attacks. You're welcome for the pro tip if you ever find yourself playing this. But the real problems come in with the drug-fueled campaign missions. From time to time, you'll get dosed with the mind-altering drug and swarmed with enemies. There's often not a lot of cover in these sections of the game, and you'll spend 90% of your time running around trying to find a spot to hide so that you can get shots in on the boss, because even though you seem to be in cover, you'll still be getting hit somehow. Other missions are worse because instead of having too many enemies, there just aren't any worth your time. That's because the end game map is used several times to make you traverse huge chunks of an uneventful landscape, creating long, boring lulls in gameplay. And then some missions are simply fan-favorite multiplayer maps that even a casual like myself recognizes. And I've seen some people say that you can play solo toggling off the campaign co-op option, which I discovered as my Xbox reminded me that I can't play campaign co-op without Game Pass, which I recently canceled. If you toggle autofill off, you can play solo to your heart's content, but I'm not sure you want to. Not sure you want to play this regardless. That said, simply put, the campaign was a lot easier with friends. Co-op campaign does not save the game, by the way, but it does give you other players to trudge along with and makes it a lot easier. Being able to play with people you like does not make the game better, but it does maybe make the time go by a little faster. And just a note on that, this co-op can actually make your experience worse in some ways. For example, several times during my playthrough, someone would go AFK or get lost on their way to an objective, meaning half the team gets to stand at the objective and just kind of wait for the game to resync you up.
Indicating waypoint.
Move to location.
And it was enough time for us to notice an objective near the end of the game had me waiting for a player who joined and didn't move to get kicked, so my teammate and I could just simply proceed because they're using large multiplayer maps. It desperately needs a Destiny-style pull-to player mechanic once an objective has been reached, something the former Bungie owner Activision should know. Playing solo wasn't much better either. It's much more difficult, and having someone to res my dumb moves was a lot more bearable than needing to reset at a checkpoint before I could proceed. Even when playing with randoms, I did get a chuckle as most conversations organically led to how little fun we were having and how much we did not like the campaign. To steer away from the negative though, the best parts of the campaign don't involve the wacky drug effects. There were a few missions that were a lot better. Containment was a bit more of a traditional Call of Duty experience, and -1 portion where you needed to figure out how to lower barriers, it felt like it was the closest thing to a futuristic Call of Duty that I kinda had fun with. And Disruption was a bit more like a traditional mission as well, making for a bit more fun, especially against the larger boss at the end. One other aspect that was noticeable was the scalability of the game engine, which saw very stable performance on all platforms. And I can show that because of the provided capture equipment from AverMedia. I was able to capture and show the boost in smoothness you get at 1080p 240Hz versus playing at 60Hz at 4K. Higher resolution, lower frame rate, lower resolution, much higher frame rate, and much smoother. Not only that, but you can play and capture at higher frame rates with the AverMedia cards, but it also is one of the best on the market for helping me capture at the highest qualities the market can throw at you right now. This is the 240Hz Live Gamer Ultra S capture next to my 4K 60fps capture on the Live Gamer 4K 2.1. Live Gamer Ultra 2.1 can also tackle those higher frame rates, allowing for 4K 144Hz capture and pass-through, which is simply put one of the most impressive capture options on the market, especially for an external device. And because I can push the bitrate of capture as high as my drive speeds can handle, you can really push the boundaries in ways other capture cards just make way too difficult. So to really show off what AverMedia can do, I've annotated each piece of capture in this review with the card name used, frame rate, and resolution captured so you can see for yourself just how dang good these things are. And with their free software, you can easily go in, customize your capture, and it doesn't dump it into a weird subfolder structure like other companies. Ingesting for your edits is super simple. So if you can't tell, I really like the capture cards, particularly the Live Gamer 4K 2.1, which will be getting a $40 off discount, as well as the external $45 off Live Gamer Ultra 2.1. That makes these some of the most cost-effective capture cards on the market. The 4K 2.1 lets you play at 1080p 240Hz and capture it. 4K 144Hz with pass-through, and you can capture it, or really any resolution a modern console can throw at it, like 4K 120Hz, and yes, you can capture it. And for more clarity, again, here's 1080p 240 next to 4K 60, captured side by side. Sure, you get better resolution when you play at 4K, but if you can take advantage of the 120 FPS mode on consoles, use it every chance you get. Most of this footage was captured on the internal Live Gamer 4K 2.1, which handles 4K 144Hz pass-through and capture just as well as the external Live Gamer 2.1 did, but Live Gamer 2.1 has party chat, so if you like to party, get the Ultra. I've been a fanboy of other capture cards for years, but AverMedia really impressed and opened my eyes. Their software is very simple to use. Just add your box, update the firmware, and then add it to their streaming app so you're good to go. Or just use OBS if that's your preference. Push it to a 300,000K bitrate, or keep it more reasonable with just a few buttons. I know this is to tell you mostly about AverMedia features, but it is also a highlight that Call of Duty Black Ops 7 did a good job in the performance department, and you can see that when you show all these visual options made powerful by AverMedia next to each other. A huge thank you to AverMedia for sending these. Check the link in the description or pinned comment to get what is probably the best deal ever on capture cards of this quality. At the end of the day, gameplay might be rough, but the performance is smooth regardless of the platform you choose, be that Xbox, PlayStation 5, or PC. And speaking of graphics, let's talk about the cutscenes, because the cutscenes in Black Ops 7 do look absolutely incredible. It's just really unfortunate that the actors can look this good, the facial capture can look this good, but then the words that they say are completely wasted with atrocious one-liners or cliche lines and a worse overall premise.
So we're stuck here going batshit crazy, and they get a cushy Japanese vacay, huh?
It's a mission, Harper. Not taking in majestic Mount Fuji.
It is majestic, though.
Well, I hope they send us a fucking postcard.
I don't remember the Walking Dead guy or any of these characters from the other games, and even if I did, I don't even feel like these characters mesh or even really like each other at any time in the campaign. I genuinely don't know what the writers were going for, even if the cutscenes do look great. In-game, however, I do think some of this is looking pretty dated. That's because of the wide open map reuse for campaign missions that have you running or flying over what winds up looking a bit like green mud as you fly to your next loading screen, because you'll inevitably have an AFK player waiting to join your team. The campaign experience greatly suffers for these reasons, all while looking good during pre-renders and okay at best during the rest of the in-game bits. The issues compound with all of the other mechanics they tried to incorporate, including co-op and bad map layouts, sync issues, and mission structure that make Black Ops 7 feel like it's consistently in its own way. And the actual gameplay, it does feel fine, by the way. There are a lot of fun weapons and loadouts and abilities to try in the campaign, such as the Golden Gun super ability that kind of one-shots almost anything as you go, but it's simply not enough to cut through the very loud noise of this weird take on a game that's supposed to be about war. How did we go from storming the beaches of Normandy and talking about smoke tech in Call of Duty 2 to whatever the hell this is?
The fuck?
All in all, this is a Call of Duty I don't think you should play. I don't think this is worth the price of entry, even if I have heard very positive things about zombies and multiplayer online. Even if those modes end up feeling like the best thing you've ever played, the campaign feels like a franchise running out of creative ideas. And when you run out of ideas, sometimes you go too far into the fantastical, and that's exactly what this has done. It's jumped the shark, and it's simply not Call of Duty anymore. I don't know what this is, but it seems like I don't like it, and neither do most gamers. Treyarch, I hope you do better next time. I want to see you succeed, but this is not it. Period.
We good?
Oh, splendid. How you feeling?
Free.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know my content goes live. I do greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much to the members for supporting. Phil Aroni, Chris Freddy, Aries EMS, you all rock. All the people backing me rock. If you want to support, you can go to patreon.com/SafeStatePlus or become a member right here on YouTube. I'm going to get out of here, but check out my previous review for Metal Gear Solid Delta at launch, which I really liked and has only improved with performance updates. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll catch you for the next one.